So today we're continuing our theme of the journey of becoming, and in particular today, we're going to be talking about the gift of a new journey. When we think about gifts this time of the year, we're often thinking about the ones we wrap up, put underneath the tree, or we mail out to people. Hopefully, if you're mailing anything, you've got those already out in the way because they take a while to get there. I know I sent presents off to my grandchildren and my son and my mom and other people, so that was good to do. But I also want you to think about the gifts that we can give that are more of the spiritual nature, the gifts of forgiveness, the gifts of kindness and consideration, of flexibility. My favorite phrase, a nautical term, is the most maneuverable ship yields to the least maneuverable ship. And of course, that means the big ships, the big cargo freights, they take a long time to move, but smaller vessels can easily move and shift around. And so we become those easier to move ships or people. And we can get caught in our ego about, well, they did this and they don't deserve that, and just let that go and just be willing to be flexible and be willing to be considerate of other people. Consider that they're doing the best they can with the information they have at this time. And also the gifts this time of the year to consider what may be expanding or developing in you. What are the new gifts that are emerging, that are seeking to be expressed? And what's beautiful about this is that in order to do that, we need to let go of old ways, let go of beliefs and attitudes and ways of being, practices that no longer serve us. They could have served us at one point. They could have been an adaptation of a certain time in our lives, but they no longer serve us. They keep us small. They keep us limited. And so to let go and allow these new gifts to come forth. And this talk is about the gifts of a new journey, of a new way of being. And I think it's perfect to do this on this solstice day or a few days before solstice. What's interesting about the solstice is the ancient traditions that celebrated the solstice. The word solstice stands for sun being still, because for several days the sun, as it looks on the horizon, appears to not move. It seems to be about the same place on the horizon, about the same length of the day. And in their not understanding the astrological nature of things, astronomical, that they didn't realize that it is the earth that is the moving and not the sun, because it always appears to us. We still call it a sunrise and a sunset. But it was that the sun stood still. There's a calmness, there's a peace, and this is the time of the shortest days. It'll be on the 21st and 22nd, or both within 100th of a second of each other, about the length of the day. So there's this, but also it's a time that the ancients used to talk about, that the old sun and the old ways would die, and the new sun would be reborn. The new light would be reborn. And this metaphor, the way they talked about it, this ritual and the things they would do, fits right into our holidays. In fact, the customs of the ancient people, particularly in the northern hemisphere, influence this time of the year. The southern hemisphere is celebrating summer solstice now. It's a very different experience, but particularly those that were in the northern part of the northern hemisphere who had very short days. I mean, our day is still going to be about 9.5 hours long, which is, short, but the further north you go, the shorter and shorter that day gets. So when you get to where the Druids and the Celtics lived in, which went from not just England, but from Ireland all the way down to Turkey, north of the Alps, basically. those days were very short. So they looked towards, considering the sun was their life, the rebirth of the sun and the lengthening of the days was a very important thing. And they would decorate trees with different kinds of lights and candles and food and different things. They had the Yule logs, several traditions that we brought into Christmas now. And in fact, it was the Romans celebrated it too. They had this day called Saturnalia, that everything was reversed. The laborers would become the bosses, and the bosses would become the laborers, and it was kind of a fun event. But for the Roman leadership in the 4th century that wanted Christianity to be the prominent religion, they began to celebrate Christmas in winter, when in the Bible it's very obvious that Jesus was born in the springtime. The signs of the description of the environment at the time, when sheep were raised in pastures, it wouldn't be in the wintertime, it'd be the springtime, and other things they were talking about. But it was moved and celebrated because it was wanting to supersede the pagan rituals of the solstice. And also adapted was a lot of the ideas of the evergreen trees and the food and the Yule logs and the 12 days of Christmas. A lot of these things that were solstice things. So Christmas became or solstice was absorbed by Christianity. But for today, I want to separate it back out, because traditionally this was the time when people let go of the old and brought in the new. It's natural for us to do that on New Year's Eve because our calendar year ends on that. So it's fine to do it then also. But there's a time of alignment that happens this time of the year that is natural to our bodies. It's natural for our bodies as the darker days, darker evenings are longer, for us to be more introspective, for us to be contemplative and considering things. So what a great time for us to step into this time we have and just be present with that which is coming forth, that which is expressing. Now, to do that, we need to totally release what no longer serves us. As I mentioned, there are times in our lives when we needed to adapt in a certain way, to survive, to thrive, to believe we needed to do it a certain way. But we can allow a mindfulness and awareness within us, as well as spirit within us, a sense of spirit, to let us know when something no longer serves us. We can also get indications when relationships or friendships or our jobs or our inner life is not quite where we want it to be. That's an indicator that there are old beliefs and attitudes and practices that no longer serve us. We don't even need to know exactly what it is. It's great if we do, but we can get a sense of what it is. That something is limiting us, something is holding us back. And we are simply willing to release known and unknown beliefs. And you can say that. Known and unknown beliefs I release so that I can open up to a greater sense. To me, it's like cleaning out the garage. Now, if you're a person, when you take time to, or perhaps a room in your office, some people take things out and they try and sell things and give things away, but what they don't sell, what they can't find anybody to give away to, they put it back in the garage, right? What's the sense of that? When it's time to get rid of it, get rid of it. It doesn't matter how you get rid of it, just get rid of it. It's gone. Don't bring it back in. And even if you don't have anything to put in that space, how about leaving space in your life for something greater to be expressed through you as you? And what we know is that we seek what is expressing through us in new ways. What is opening up to us. And when we let go, then we allow something to be expressed through us in greater ways. Rumi says that what we seek is also seeking us. So we can allow this deeper sense of ourselves, a deeper trusting of what it is, allowing Spirit to express through us. And what your beliefs about God or Spirit or Yahweh doesn't really matter in this moment. It matters is your openness, your willingness to let go and allow new ways to express through you. Allow these new gifts to come through you. Allow yourself to discover what is seeking to be, what is seeking to open up to us in this way. So in this way, we know that we simply want to allow Spirit to be in the presence, that we can hold peace for all people. And that's what I love about the cranes. I love the story that if you were here last week, I talked about how at home office, they have cranes up also, and they have one of those cranes has our center on it. And they're holding prosperity and peace for our center. So we don't need names on the cranes up here. We can hold peace for ourselves, hold peace for other people. We can hold peace for our country, for other countries, for peace between genders, between faiths, between all people. And we can know that and hold it at this time. And that's part of our expression too at this time, to know that. And then that we know at this time of the solstice that we align with this time, that there is something natural and opening to us that creates through us as us. The opening of life itself. And like I said, this time of the year, people talk about the birth of Jesus, and metaphysically, what we talk about is Jesus was the light that was being born at that time. But he was not an exception, he was an example. There's a big difference between that. Because an exception means he would be the only one. An example is we all can birth light through us as us. That we can be available to allow the Spirit to express through us, allowing the gifts that come forth, allowing a newness, allowing and letting go of ways that no longer serve us. And this time of solstice is a time of earth-based pagan rituals, a pagan celebration. So we're bringing in fire and water today to be part of a ritual. And we also have the air to breathe in and the ground which we're on, the earth that we have. And it's this connection to the earth and to the sky and to the Spirit within that can open us up to a greater expression into this new solar year, into this new year, and into all of life. So today on your seat, there was a little sheet of paper here. And it talks a little bit about the winter solstice on one side. But I'd like you to turn it to the other side that says what I'm releasing and what I'm intending to embrace and become. First of all, we have lots of these sheets. So if you want to take some home, if you want to give them to someone else, you're welcome to do that. But what I'd like to do is focus on you should have a pen too. And if you don't have a sheet, there should be one around you or a pen around you. Does anybody need a sheet that doesn't have one? Just raise your hand if you don't have one. Okay, I think we're all good. You guys good back there? All right. So right in the middle of the page, what am I releasing? Just close your eyes for a moment. And just allow a sense of Spirit to come within you. A sense of the divine. Your higher good, your inner guide. And just allow yourself to ask the question is, what is seeking to be released? What is seeking to be let go in order for me to create a fuller life, a life of joy and love? in order to me to bring in a new way of being. And just when you're ready to open your eyes and write down a few notes. No one else is going to read this, so it doesn't have to be in sentences. Just words will be fine. Pictures, if that's what you see it in. Just what are you seeking to be released? And what is seeking to be released through you? Move on to the next question. And just once again, close your eyes and go within and just find that inner sense within you, that inner divine, that inner light, and ask what is seeking to be expressed by me. What am I intending to embrace and become and express more fully? Begin writing about that when you're ready. Go back to our mission about unconditional loving, intentional living, seeing God in all people. And there may be more specific things that you're seeking to express and become. I forgot to include people online to mention that you're welcome to just write it on any piece of paper you might have there. Just another minute. And then take your little bitty piece of paper. This little bitty piece of paper. This is an important piece of paper. This is more important than this whole sheet. Let me tell you that. You'll know why in a minute. And I just want you to write on this what you're ready to let go of. What you're really ready to let go of. In this moment. Write that word, a picture, whatever symbol you want. Write as much or as little on this piece of paper as you want to. And if you don't have one, raise your hand if you don't have a little piece of paper. You don't have a little piece of paper? There are some here. John, you have an extra one? Here you go, Mary. All right, just hold on to those pieces of paper. And when we do the sharing abundance today, you're going to come put them in the water right here. You're just going to drop them in the water. And what might be best, Mary and Dale, when you finish, we could pass those, and maybe better, that'd be better just because of health protocols, not to have everybody step up. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you just to pick them up along the aisles when they're ready. So another minute, everybody looks ready. So just pass those to the center aisle is what we'll do. And Mary and Dale, if you could pick those up. And for those of you online, write it on a little piece of paper like Post-it note size. And I'll tell you what to do with that in a minute, what you're wanting to release. Thank you. Thank you. So if you're at home or wherever you are online and you've put it on a little piece of paper, just take it, and I'm going to be dropping these in the water, but you can take it and rip it up, wad it up, and just throw it away if you want to. This is special paper that I'm going to place into the water, and I'm going to do it as I pray first, and then I'm going to drop it in the water. So what I know right now is there's only God, and that is all there is. And God and Spirit, Yahweh, whatever we call it, is bringing you to this place of your willingness to let go right now, fully and completely. There's nothing left, no part of it. So if you open your eyes, you can see that I'm dropping it into the water. And we know in the water, it holds the calmness of the bay, the calmness of spirit, the peace that is in all. We know it takes this and dissolves it as if nothing was there ever. That it is all gone. Let go completely. No remnants of it left. And then as we go back into the prayer, we know this new light that's coming forth, that is the divine itself, that's expressing through us, now opens up. There's room for it to move in and through us, and it does that already. That which you are seeking is seeking you, that which is spirit in you is expressing in a full and complete way. A more loving, more intentional, more creative power within you that now has room and space and no blocks in order to express you fully and completely. And as this new light comes in the solstice, the light is reborn. It is reborn in you, renewed, refreshed, and creating through you in a more powerful way. I know this to be so. This new light is birthing through you right here and right now. And for this, we're so, so grateful. We know it is already so, and we declare it that way by saying, and so it is.